us.
Hey guys, welcome back to Under Construction. My name is Lamlela, and here we're sitting with individuals, young South Africans that are under construction. Every single one of us has potential to be great. And these folks that you're going to meet here, they're about to pop, I promise you. Today we're sitting with Ngazibini Mahobe from PE and Nombuso Shabala. And these two individuals, not only are they on the come up, but they've started to move some heavy volumes. They're starting to make waves in ways that young people of old weren't able to achieve what they have in such a short period of time and as young as they are. So I look forward to you guys not only learning, but learning even from the experiences. So Nombuso Ngazi, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Lams.
Thank you so much. So Nombuso, you want to SAFTA with the film. Pardon?
Now I'm just celebrating her.
Oh, cool. With the Umboya, you're a Wits graduate. I know you're graduating sometime very soon.
Yeah, no, hectic. So I graduated in 2020. Okay. Well, I finished, my last year was in 2019. Then 2020 was meant to be the graduation, but that didn't happen because of COVID. And then I did my post-grad, which my graduation should be this year, I think. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Do you mind just sharing with us how your journey in film and your journey in starting out and pursuing your career has been?
Oh, it's kind of broad, but I didn't, like, immediately after high school, I didn't just jump into film and TV. I mean, I always knew that I was a creative. I always knew that I wanted to do something in TV, but because of the pressure, the unnecessary pressure that comes from, your home or, in your surroundings, saying, oh my gosh, you must have something to fall back on. So I think after matric, I went to Wits, but I did a BCom, right? And I was really miserable in it because I knew that's not where, God has called me, to be in in my career. And when I left it, I then, pursued, I just decided I don't want to be on screen anymore for now. I want to be behind the scenes. And then that's where I took film and TV at Wits. I didn't know what to expect. What I knew though was that I don't want to hold the camera because that's not my passion. But I want to create stories. I want to be behind the making of what starts off as an imagination. So it took me 4 years to do that academic side of things. And in the process, the last year in 2019, we had to do 2 major films. And one of the films won a SAFTA by God's grace. Like we were hands on it. And I was the only girl in my team. So there were 4 of us. And we all knew what our strengths were. And because we were brought together because of the love of making film, it was a success because, we understood the directorial vision behind it. And yeah, just to cut the long story short, that's my academic career. And yeah.
Awesome stuff. So Ngazi, you're former Mr. South Campus. You've been a producer at Madiba's Radio. You're what is known as the renowned connoisseur of critical conversation. You've become somewhat of a social media sensation. Tell us now, who is Ngazi?
Tricky question because I'm also on a journey to find that out. Kind of tricky, but I think if I can just put it in plain terms, firstly, I think you remember this day. There was a time in 2017 when a prophet came to youth, and one of the things, I'm not going to go through the whole story, but one of the things he said was that he asked me what I wanted to do with my life. 2017, so at the time, I just left 2016 varsity for the year 2017. So he asked me, what is one of the things you really wanted to do? And at the time, I really just wanted to play football. So I was like, I want to be the greatest footballer South Africa has ever seen. And he was like, yeah, God let you do that, but that's not what he wants for your life. So at the point already, I started putting a wall up. I was like, God, I thought we spoke, like, what's happening? And he said that God wants you to be a leader of men. He wants you to speak to multitudes of people. He wants to put you on big pedestals and big pulpits. And at the time I fought it because I was like, I really am not trying to be a pastor or something like that. Like, it's not for me. Until I left for varsity here at NMU, was studying media communication and culture. Then I realized that, no, man, I actually really love this thing of being in front of people and talking to people and commanding a crowd. For example, doing what you're doing right now, which you're actually really good at. You're amazing. Anyways, so I realized that, no, man, when God wants you to preach, in a sense, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a pastor. There's so many different spaces and so many different mediums through which you can preach and affect people's lives and influence people's lives. So one of the things I've always loved is to entertain. Yeah, so that's who I can say I am. I am someone who loves putting a smile on someone's face and leaving a conversation with you even after you have a conversation with me, if that makes sense. I think that's me.
Now that makes absolute sense. Now, one thing I love about the two of you guys, I'm finding this out as we're sitting here, is that in both of your journeys, you've had this moment where you're pursuing one thing and you go, no, this isn't it for me.
Yeah.
And you turn and you go towards what it is that you either felt God is calling you towards, or what it is that you felt has always been on the inside of you. Now, for both of you guys, I'd like to know, how would you advise an individual who finds themselves in that very same predicament of you're pursuing something, you're not fulfilled, it's not making you happy, you know it isn't what God has called you for? How do you sit down and critically assess? How do you go through that decision-making process of, okay, I'm doing this, but I'm gonna change, I'm gonna turn? Because so many people are so afraid to change because of the permeations of change. So how would you advise a person who finds themselves in that very same predicament? How do they go through that process? Or how did you go through that process?
Nombuso, you can go first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a deep question. And I think that I always, the people who I come in contact with, it's always a conversation. I think one of the most sad thing is that the world tells us it gives us an image of success that is not from God, really, or that doesn't look like God's image of us having success. I've been listening to this series called Paper Chasers, and normally what we want to do is to chase paper instead of chasing purpose. So with my advice really is, what drives you? What the world says, passion is not going to put food on the table. But God has given us gifts and, talents that are just broad. And when he says, we should go out into the world, yes, it was the Great Commission, but out the world, like literally in every industry, and there is room for you in literally any industry that you feel your gifts and talents can be used. So for me, because I'm a Christian, I always tell people that I know who my anchor is. So it's not as scary for me to leave something and go on to what I know God is calling me to go to, because I know that where I go to, there should be provision. And that's where I'll see that there is the hand of God upon wherever I go to. So when most people, when they say, I don't think this is for me, I always say, just look at your state right now where you are. Is there provision for what you're? Are you striving? Are you working? Are you working so hard to, pursue what you're pursuing right now, knowing very well that you're not meant to be there? And if so, then you're in the wrong field, you're in the wrong position, and you will continue striving and making yourself so tired in all aspects of your life whereas you can be in a place where you can fully trust God to provide for you and to fully do the thing for you, and you be at rest. So it's literally just taking that leap of faith, number one, into going where the crowd is not, and just allowing to work not on your time, just trusting that you serve the author of time. That's whether you are 18, whether you are 38, and trying to, like, I'm getting old now, I can't, just do it. You don't, as seeing his cuts, he's as in. So so I think that would be my advice. Like, literally, what is your anchor? Who's your anchor? If your job is your anchor, you will lose it tomorrow. And where or who will you anchor be? But if it's God, you know that even if I come out of this place and study something different that I know will edify me, I know that my anchor will hold me through it. So yeah.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Ngazi?
I think for me, I really agree with everything you were saying a lot, especially the anchor part. I really agree with that. I think for me, one of the most powerful things to realize, happened a bit late, but I'm really thankful that I did, is, first of all, I'll start with the fact that this modern era that we're living in, technological one. One of the things we tend to forget is that no one posts the process. No one will tweet the process. No one will show you anything about the process, but you'll always see the end product. You get me? And now the thing that happens with that is we then put so much pressure on ourselves that things for people are happening now. I need to accomplish this now. I need to be there now. And we tend to put like a timeline on the things we want to achieve. And we get stressed. For example, if you're like, you know what, I've realized I don't like this, I want to change to this. We get worried about, but I was so far, now I have to start over. I'm running out of time. And going back to one of the things that Nombuso said is that we serve a God that doesn't even function in the time of this world. But then when we're asking for things from him, we want to put them in certain timelines. You get what I'm trying to say? And it really doesn't work that way. It genuinely doesn't work that way. I've come to realize that God can be super extreme in your life if he wants to actually show you what he wants for you. So if you are going in a direction that he doesn't want, he could take you in the complete opposite direction of your purpose if he knows that in that journey you'll actually realize the purpose. I hope this makes sense. So for me, it was a case of, I started this one thing, and then along the line, I'd lived a life so long of, I need to maintain this image. I need to maintain the stature of, academically, I'm here, this, that, and this. I'm accomplishing things according to these timelines. I was in high school. I had scholarships in high school, and this and that. So it was very difficult for me to get to a point where I was like, no, actually, this is not what I want. Because also, back to the biggest thing is the timelines. So I think one of the biggest things I would like to say is that don't function on it's good to have vision boards and whatnot, but don't function on so strict timelines that they don't leave room for failure. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Sometimes the blessing is actually in the failure. You get what I'm trying to say? So if you don't make room for it, you will cripple yourself. So I think when you are at a position for yourself where you're like, I'm trying to change from this thing to that thing, please do not consider the time. Don't look at the time. Look at the process and just put your head down and focus on that. I think that's one of the biggest things for me.
Oh, wow. And that was absolutely beautiful, actually, from both of you guys. The next thing then for me would be, I'm looking at my timelines, I'm trusting God, but then what are some of the influences that have come? And I know they come in terms of like certain individuals that come into your life, almost like at right place, right time, with the right thing to say. So who or what have been some of the influences in both of your lives as you were transitioning and as you were pursuing that just gave you what you needed at that point in time to give you the boldness, the confidence to say, you know what, this is the confirmation. Let me do this thing and let me run and not grow weary. So what have been some of those influences in both of your lives?
I'm just so fortunate to have a circle that is so purpose driven. So, and a circle that you can also be accountable to. When they see you doing something, they'll question, and challenge you and be like, but you're good, this. And why are you not using it? Doesn't necessarily have to be in what I was studying, but just simple things like that. Having a great circle, helped me position myself more, and actually even being with a circle that will influence you, will put you into, positions where if they were not there, certain connections you would, or networks you would not have had. And it's just so amazing that even outside your circle, that when you are at the right gate, there will be people who you will just meet that just complete or tell or are part of the journey that you're living. I'm just like reminded of David, for example, how he went to the palace, to play. He's been anointed to be king, but at that time, he's connected to go into the palace and play for the king. That's just amazing. And so that's how I look at my journey. I love the title Under Construction, because that's literally a journey, or constructing something so that it can be a complete design or a complete building of some sort. And I've seen that in my life happening even at school, where a lecturer will be like, hey, I've seen you do this. Would you try something that is, for example, I'll give an example of like one real story was at school. One of the lecturers was like, I want you to go to Discovery. And now I'm thinking, Discovery is an insurance company. Why would I go there? And they're like, no, because they're starting a media team there. And they called me saying, do you have any vid student that can start up with us? And I thought of you. So imagine if I was not being intentional, even in my, academics, or, I wouldn't have had, those connections. And me being then in Discovery, I'm now tapping into a different realm, but still functioning in your gift or your talent. So though that is one thing. And the latter thing, I would say, maybe one last life example was when I finished my film degree. I was now stuck again, thinking, should I go look for a job or should I continue? And yet again, that's a relationship that you have with God. If you hear God, you will hear what he'll say. And God's like, do a postgraduate in something else, not in film and TV. So I did it in media studies. And as I was doing my postgrad and the COVID hit and all that, I'm like, oh, actually, thank God that I'm actually studying. And in the middle of studying, I get a call from one of the biggest productions. And they're like, hey, are you available to work in this position at the show or soap called Mubango? And it just was like, if I was not in place, in tune with my circle and in the gate that I'm meant to be in, I wouldn't have had all these connections that are ordained by God. So yeah.
That's awesome. So awesome. And we celebrate that opportunity for you. And when Tusa told me, I was just so excited. Guys.
So I think, I really agree with what she's saying, in the sense of your circle, in a sense, can curate your direction, in a sense, because they're the ones that, in a sense, carry your name and whatever name you created for yourself. I think for me, the things or people that I can say have helped me is having people around you who are equally as motivated or even more motivated or driven towards things that it doesn't even have to be the same thing. For example, I have friends that are in accounting and law and whatnot, but I think it's always important to have people around you who are as driven and as passionate about whatever craft, whatever field they're in, so that it in a sense rubs off on you, and it always pushes you to be like, I need to I need to carry my weight in a sense. I need to achieve these things because if you look around you, there's no one slacking. So it doesn't make sense for you to be the one who is slacking. You get what I'm trying to say. I think that's supposed to be one of the biggest things for me. And just touching on what Nombuso was saying as well is that I think one of the things that have really carried me in some of the things that I've done is the name and the impression that you leave on other people. Even if you're doing a quick gig, a one-time gig, or you're doing a whole production with a company or a client, the reputation that you leave then opens up doors that you didn't even know existed. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It leads for you to get opportunities where like, I did not even know of these people, but since I had a good relationship when I was on under construction, now I'm getting calls from different places. So I think the name or the taste that you leave in people's mouths is very important. And it's one of the things that will keep you going in terms of your motivation and the people you work with. So I think those are the two things that have been very important for me in keeping me going, is the passion, the drive in the people around me, firstly, and secondly, the name and taste that I leave in people's mouths from whatever work that I do. Those are the two most important things for me.
Awesome. I'm just going to ride off the back of just those two things that you mentioned. One, the name that you create for yourself, almost like a brand and your image. And number two, the opportunities that are presented. Quick question. So you create, obviously your brand is informed by first and foremost who you are. And if you're Christian, it'll be informed by the values that you carry, biblical values that you're carrying. And because of that, not every opportunity is something that you can jump on. You know what I mean? Because of sometimes it might be in conflict with the brand that you're trying to create.
Definitely.
How then do you as an individual, when you meet or when you're presented with the opportunity that is in conflict with your brand, but if you just took the opportunity, it would open up doors for you. You understand? How do you go about processing rejecting that opportunity or accepting it and compromising who you are? So between those two things, how do you balance opportunity and the brand that you're trying to create?
I think one of the most important things, especially in the media industry, in the side that I'm in, is the sense that there's nothing that I can see more important than your brand. And with brand, for me, comes morals and ethics. You get what I'm trying to say? So one of the things that is very important is that don't ever look at the money first. Look at the long term of whatever production you're involving yourself in. Look at the brand of the client that you're working with. You see, not just your brand. Look at the brand of the client. Look at their track record and see if it aligns with your morals, your ethics, and what you're trying to build for yourself before you actually look at the money. And before you actually, sometimes we have this pseudo reality of the opportunities that it's going to open up. You get me? So for example, I could be like, if I work with X production, then I'm probably going to get an opportunity there, and there. But sometimes the things that we don't know is that what if the doors that are being opened there are going to be to your demise? But it might lead to more money, but what if it's to your demise? You get what I'm trying to say? So I think before you consider potential opportunities in future, look at the current opportunity that is being presented. Look at the concept that is being given to you. Look at what they're trying to work with and see if it aligns with you. For example, there are certain events now that I will never MC. Like, it doesn't matter how much you put on the table. Like, I'm just not going to do it. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I know the long term of it is that this does not match my brand or what I'm trying to do with my brand. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think what blurs the line sometimes is the opportunities and maybe that thought of how much money might be in this thing, but that thing can help you in the long run. So there's quite a few things I've been like, no, I'm okay, thank you. Because not necessarily because the money is not good, but because I'm just like, in the long term of it, I don't want this on my track record. This is not going to look good for me, or people will not take me seriously the way that I want them to. You get what I'm trying to say? So I think for me, what is important with the brand is moral and ethic and it aligning with mine, that of the client or the company, and that of what I'm trying to build as a brand. So that's what's up for me.
Awesome. Okay, now from the both of you guys, what does it take, or what are you finding that as you're evolving in your journey, as you're constructing your brand, who you are, your career, what are you finding it takes to get stuff done, like to get your product out, to become significant? And I'm just seeing one word from each of you guys, like what are you finding is going to take to make it as you're growing? Every day you're finding out, okay, so it takes this hard work, this and that. So you just give me one word and then you give me one word and we'll go on for a little bit, because I want every single person who's listening, every single person who's tuning in to know, as they're growing in their journey in different fields in the entertainment industry, this is what it's going to take. So from Ungazi, it's going to take this. He says it's taken him this, or he's learned that it takes this. And from Nombuso, you've learned that it takes this to get stuff done, to get your brand out there. So let's do just one for one, and maybe give me 4 each, but one for one.
Consistency.
Consistency.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Please repeat your question. My network just went bad when you asked.
No problem. The question is, what have you found as you're growing in your career, in building your career, that it takes, this is what it takes to make it? But every day, because you're growing, you're finding out a new thing every day. What has been some of those things that you found? Okay, it takes hard work to make it, and this and that. So from your personal experience, what have you found? So just give me one. 4. I need 4 from you, but give me one. Then Ngazi will give me one, and then you give me one more, and then we'll do it like that till we get to 4.
Oh, okay. So Ngazi said consistency.
Yes.
I'm saying great attitude.
Great attitude. Okay, Ngazi's gone for a bit. Another one?
Dedication.
Dedication.
And there's just so many things. Sorry, my granny is like on the phone. So so it's consistency, hard work, well, great attitude. What else did I say?
Consistency, hard work, great attitude.
And just being persistent, I think. Yeah, it hasn't been easy for me as well, but it's like all those things, especially consistency. I think consistency has to be top one. Like every day you wake up with intentionality that you're going to be doing this, and you're going to be doing it in excellence. And that's, I think, for me, that's how I strive every day.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. So there you have it, guys. Like, consistency, I think, is always key. And people always say this, like, that sometimes people miss it because of lack of consistency. Like, you could have great content, you could have great content, great quality content, but because of the lack of the consistency, the lack of a consistent either social media presence, a consistent produce of good quality work, you lose out on connecting with your market, or you lose out on connecting with your audience simply because of a lack of consistency. Now, Ngazi's back. When you still owe us 3 more, buddy.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, technical issues. First of all, I said, okay, which ones did you say? I don't want to repeat anything.
We've got consistency, we've got hard work, we've got great attitude, and what was the other one?
Well, I think consistency and persistence is the same thing. So I'll say excellence.
Excellence.
Okay. Yeah, so I said consistency. Another one is, I think a teachable spirit is important. I know it's not one word, but be teachable as a person, because in every single space that you go into, there's always something new you learn. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So be teachable. Don't be having that whole narrative of I've got this. You don't. That's why you're under construction. Do you get me? So be teachable. Patience, a whole lot of patience, very patient. with the process. Be patient with your brand. Be patient with yourself as well, because sometimes I think we put so much pressure on ourselves that why is this not working? So patient. And one more. Pray. Yeah, pray. I don't have to explain that. Just pray.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys, as we know you're under construction, what can we expect from Nombuso in the future? I know you just landed, not you just landed, but you're now on Mubango. And what else can we expect coming up in your future? Any projects that you're working on?
Yes, so wow, there's a lot. So sometimes I can't really say when things are in infant stages, but I am I'm like, when you're talking about being teachable, I think that's one great attribute that I had that has now led me into, people saying, oh my gosh, I see you working with me in this, like, let's do it. And just because of having a teachable spirit. So near future, hopefully release a film that we're meant to actually be shooting with the team that I shot with for the SAFTA thingy. But yeah, with that one, it's still like in infant stages, and it's not easy actually making a film. I'm more of a television person, so I'm not, but in the future, man, I was actually thinking about this morning, and I was like, actually, I want to be in channel, I want to be the person who makes the decision of what goes on TV and what doesn't, and who do we give the money to. Actually, I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, that is actually one of the things that I'd really like to do.
Wow, that's super amazing. You're awesome. Like, you're super awesome. Ngazi?
I just want to ask Nombuso, when you get to actually create your film, when you are having your launch of it, I just want to avail myself as an MC. I'll just email you my rates.
Shoot your shot, brother. Shoot your shot.
We'll just work. But Lamela, bro, when it comes to these things, these NDAs, bro, I'm trying to tell you without telling you that a few things. I think if I can just put it in plain terms, since your channel is under construction, then I can say I'm looking at this year with a foundation being laid, a very firm one. Do you get what I'm trying to say? When you're building a house, when the foundation is there, you can have a sense of, okay, they're building something here. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think that could be that type of year for me, with some of the projects that I'll be working on and some of the things I'll be working on, that it'll be that year where end of it, he's doing something here. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I think a foundation is undeniable, and that if things carry on in the vein that they are right now, by the end of the year, it will be an undeniable foundation. It will be a case of, no, there's definitely something being built here. So I think that's how I can describe the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming and being with me today on Under Construction, Nombuso and Ngazi. For everybody who's watching, if you have not yet shared, please do share this video out. Make sure to subscribe on the channel, and to also, if you really enjoyed this video, just give us a thumbs up. Like, don't be that guy. Give the thumbs up. Like, I know I've been that guy, but I repented and I now like videos. So please repent, like the video. Thank you very much. And you can find us on Under Constructions across all our social media. Nombuso, what are your handles?
Pardon?
Your social media handles.
Oh, my social media handles. Oh my gosh, I just joined TikTok. I'm so excited.
Hey.
I don't even know what that is, like what it entails. But no, my Instagram is Nombuso_Madela. My Facebook is Nombuso Madela. Twitter, Nombuso_Madela. Everything Nombuso_Madela.
All right, awesome. Ngazi?
My social media, Twitter is @Ngazi with 3 I's. And Instagram is at Ngazi_Mahobe. Facebook, Ngazibini Mahobe. What else? TikTok, I'm still trying to figure TikTok out. I can't really say much. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on there. So
Same.
yeah, at Ngazibini_Mahobe or at Ngazibini.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. It was super awesome having you on the show with us. This has been the second episode of Under Construction with Ngazi and Nombuso. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thanks.